And welcome to Event Tech Takes. These are short, practical conversations to help event professionals get better results from their event technology. I'm Vanessa Lovatt, the founder of Event Tech World, and I'm joined today by someone who I've really enjoyed getting to know recently and a very effervescent voice in this space. This is none other than Ryan Hammill from CrowdComms. Ryan, hello!
Hey, Vanessa, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
This is a great way for us to kick off, and you've got bags of knowledge that I'm hoping we're going to tap into, short and sharp, and to the point, closely, with so many different sorts of event teams when it comes to tech. And what I'm hoping we're going to do today is dig into what leaders sometimes underestimate, some of those event live moments and surprises that we can perhaps plan for a little bit better, but also how to make sharper event stack decisions, that's a mouthful, for the year ahead. So Ryan, brilliant again to have you here. In your own words, 20 seconds or so, who is Ryan Hammill?
That's a broad question. Ryan Hammill is a very energetic guy from Ireland. I've developed into a family man over the last few years, and that's probably what makes me happiest. But I like to take on big challenges, whether that be fitness or career or whatever it would be. But yeah, I think someone that generally looks up and is battling with the art of staying present at times. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
Nice. I love that. There's some really human points that you've made there. Now, I do know that you're big into fitness. High rocks, is that your thing?
At the moment, High Rocks, previously Ironman and marathon running, yeah, for sure. But High Rocks is just fantastic right now. It's a global phenomenon. Actually, one of our customers at CrowdComms. Very exciting.
Very cool. Well, I actually owe Ryan a thank you for getting me into paddle, because I had never played before. Ryan invited me to a social that CrowdComms hosted, a paddle social, and tomorrow I'm playing my second ever game of paddle. It was all instigated from loving that session.
Amazing.
Your appetite for sport and athleticism is paying off.
That's awesome. My postman must be off work this week. I didn't get my invitation.
Oh, no. It's me and a few friends, that's all. Very low key. We don't even know the rules, but anyway. So, let's get into it, right? From working with the teams that you've been working with over the years, and I'm not trying to make you feel old, but it's been some time in this sector, what do you think event leaders really often underestimate when it comes to event tech?
That's such a good question. If we think the one person that generally sits above an event leader will be a CMO, and that CMO potentially wouldn't bat an eye at spending millions and millions of pounds on a CRM project, a marketing automation project, or something which helps grow a customer or develop a lead to a point where they could identify it could be a potential customer. Then you go one step down to the event team, which is part of that wider marketing team. And we learn so much about people during the event experience. Now, if we think about the previous, which is the CRM and the marketing automation platform, all it's really trying to do is grab as much digital intelligence as possible to increase customer size or to develop leads to a point where people pick up the phone and call them. But in the event space, we can understand what people's preferences are, what their dietary requirements are, who they like to network with, what types of sessions they like to go to, which ones do they not stay in for long. Loads of information that we can learn about an attendee, not just in event registration, but how they engage with content, how they engage with speakers, how they engage with applications or varying technologies.
An unbelievable amount
There's
of
a wealth. We get to know the human on the event level. Now, if you were just corporate minded and all you cared about making money, for us to have a wider understanding of all those humans that are in our CRM, to round out and embellish that information, surely we could sell more personally to them and we could grow those accounts in a way with a lot more intelligence. So that's the power of event technology. Is event technology captures all those amazing touch points which happen at your events, pre-event, during event, post-event, and could potentially connect back into your CRM to round out those contact levels. So as you really start to know what they do, not just in the digital world, but in the physical world when they get the opportunity to.
Nice. So underestimation on the intelligence that can be captured.
Gather. Because that's the big transition that we're seeing now is lots of, if we use PCOs as example, Informa as an example of that, we see that these companies start off in events and then they really turn into data and intelligence. Everyone's doing it. Tech companies, fashion businesses, no matter which direction you go, it's all about what you really know about that segment of people that you've collected. So that's really important. And it's so important that I'm going to make a big, bold prediction for the year. I think by the end of 2026, we will see the first CRM or marketing automation platform purchase an event technology platform. I think we got very close to it with the Cvent and Goldcast acquisitions in the On24, but I think we'll see a big one. I think we'll see a Salesforce, HubSpot, one of those large companies purchase someone within the event technology world for that data.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Watch this space, I think we say there.
Yeah.
So following up from this event intelligence piece, let's call it that for now, if you were sitting in front of a head of events for a major pharmaceutical company, I'm just making up a scenario here, and that head of events has 30 minutes this week alone, just 30 minutes to make some sort of improvement here, what should they do?
So to make some improvement specifically with the event technology piece, yeah?
Yeah, and this data, this knowledge, this intelligence piece.
Yeah, no, 100%. So the first step that I would take is, okay, cool. So you've got your customer data, which is sitting in your CRM. You've got your event data, which is sitting within your event management platform. And you probably have one if you're listening to this. Are they connected? How is it connected? Are we just bringing back who checked in, who checked out? Are we bringing back who enjoyed which sessions and driving that back to the contact level? Are we bringing back what sponsors did they speak to? How long did they stay in those sessions? Are we bringing back what are their dietary requirements for the next events? If so, you might want to review your integrations, depending on how personalized you want to be in your marketing from your core systems. That's where I'd start.
Nice, love that. I had to go steady on the thumbs up there because otherwise I'd have just been constant. Oh yeah, agree, massively. Let's move on now to live event challenges. We've covered there a little bit around how you can think in advance, how you can act during, info you can gather during an event, but also information you can think about using after the event. But let's just make this a live event now. Now, We've all got our own event horror stories of something horrific that happened at a live event. I mean, I've been doing this long enough to have quite a few of those. But from your experience, what do you feel, and let's try and make this tech specific, are the most common challenges that you hear from teams once an event is live, and how should we be better preparing for those moments?
It is such a good question. So I think my benefit to anyone listening to this is I've actually worked at a few event technology companies, and I know companies that do things well in certain areas and other ones that don't, and vice versa. But when we think about what it is as an event planner when it comes to live day, event planner, event manager, whatever you prefer, and what your title is, when it comes to live day, if you're stressed about the technology that you're deploying, you are just not able to do your core job, which is welcoming people, getting people to where they need to be, connecting with people and connecting people to the right people. So if you're stressed about your technology and your partner is not an extension of your team, i.e., let's take check-in for example. If someone is selling you a check-in solution and you've got to set it up the morning of and do your testing the night before, and then there's a piece of paper jammed in the printer as someone's trying to check in and you're getting dragged into that when all your key speakers and all VIPs are arriving at another stand starting to queue and having a poor experience, you're not doing your job to the way that you should be. First things first is there's partners out there that will take care of all of that for you on site if you have the budget, and if not, they've probably got options of support that they can give for you so as you can get just actually be facing your actual attendees for the event. So that's the first thing, and that can cater for the lead retrieval service. You can have someone managing that for you from the tech partner who's got a stake in the race, which is we need this technology to be deployed well. whether it's your application, the check-in process, the session control, while providing temps for these positions is often more economical. If you can just have one person from your tech team at each of those key touch points, so as you can focus on delivering the event, that's great. That's the ideal for absolutely everyone. And budget depending, I would probably rank it as you're going to want some support at the online or the arrival and check-in point. That's where most stresses happen, and that creates the tone for you, for everyone that attends the event, and they're on out. So maybe some support there, and then I'd prioritize the app, and then I'd prioritize lead retrieval, and then following that probably be the session scanning, and based on complexity of things that can go wrong. So analyze your partner, see how they can extend to your team to take that off your plate. And then layer 2, push your event technology partner for an operational dashboard. I've worked in 4 event technology companies right now to all different levels. Only one of them has had the ability for someone to take a phone out of their pocket and have all the key metrics and KPIs that they care about from the event on their phone. So how many people's in that room? Just check it straight there. Are all our VIPs checked in? How many speakers have arrived? So you've got the operational dashboard in your pocket that's built personalized to you, so as you can get on with running the event. So you can be over at ballroom B while at the reception desk you can see everything that's going on. So push your event technology partner for some sort of live dashboarding that you can actually utilize while you're there deploying the event. That's the 2 points.
What does creating that sort of live dashboard, I think you called it a live operational dashboard, is it?
That's what I call it, yeah, for sure.
What's involved in creating one of those? I think many listeners will probably not have done that.
This is pretty new. We at CrowdComms, we done this for a very, very high level event which happened in Abu Dhabi at the end of the year, where the event planners didn't have the opportunity but to have to engage with these individuals because they were royal families and so on and so forth. So they needed to know where people were at all stages for security and everything like that. So we got to work. We're like, we know all the endpoint data. We know how many people checked in, what times they checked in, how many people's waiting to check in. We know how many people's logged into the app, how many people made it to sessions, how many people have spoke to an exhibitor, how many people have collected their Formula One tickets, how many people are on the way to the venue and on the transport. So we've got all that endpoint data. So what we've done in conjunction with the amazing Will here at CrowdComms, our head of product, is we started to allow them to take those endpoints that they cared about and display it on one screen, which worked for them, the event planner, on the day. And this is something that all of our customers have the potential to use now for an operational dashboard. So long story short, the less you're getting bogged down in having to solve all the problems of the technology on the day, have a partner, and the more power and understanding of what's going on all of the events on some form of device that you can see, it will allow you to feel a lot more relaxed and a lot more over what is going on.
Yeah, and so you can focus on other, arguably not necessarily more important, but really crucial things that are taking place in that time. So you kind of
revenue generation things potentially.
Yeah, sounds good. I would also add into that rehearse. And
yes,
this can feel quite perfunctory when you're doing it, but I have very recently had a group of individuals down in the basement of one of the buildings with one of the businesses I work in, and we set up a fake registration system where I think there were maybe 8 of us, and a couple of us acted as attendees, a couple of us acted as sponsors, and we went through the motions, and it was so helpful because we spotted only a couple of things, but otherwise we probably wouldn't have spotted them till the live event, and that's just when things get stressful and painful. And that's none of it was to do with the tech, it was to do with how we'd set something up, or it's something we just got slightly wrong. So I would definitely recommend adding on just rehearse, even if it seems really quite a sort of strange thing to do at the time.
Yeah, the event that we were delivering in Abu Dhabi at the end of the year, they had a on-site team that was an extension of our team to deploy the event, and the leader of that team, she had people testing badge printing for hours and hours, making sure they knew how to use the technology, how to scan people into a session, what happens if it's in low lighting. Every single box was ticked about 3 or 4 different times prior to live day. But then when live day came, actually everything did just run super smoothly and sleek and got people in through the doors, which is fantastic. And so yeah, it felt a little bit overkill at the time, but with the time that you have available to rehearse, do as much as possible.
Yeah. I was
Not
so
every,
worried you were going to say that it went the other way.
no, it was great. To be honest, it was one of the most elite deliveries that I've personally had the opportunity to be a part of. And it was very high pressure too, but it was good.
I've got one more question for you on the on-site
Please.
live experience. What do you see, and draw on your experience over several event tech companies here, what's the feature that teams have often paid for? So it's something that it's been an investment for them in the tech, but then go on to underuse. What do you think that might be?
So if we're thinking about the on-site piece, it's definitely the event application. Is that it's always such a core part of the original brief. And in the project management and the build towards that, it's so important. But it's the getting people in there, it just all stops at that point. And I think it stops because that's when the event planner is under most pressure, like about 3-4 weeks prior to the event, that's when you probably should be trying to get people in there. But there's so many great ways to do it. Like you can have people's QR codes stored within that application, so as when they come and check in, they have their badge printed, and maybe don't email it to them in there. You can have meetings and matchmaking getting launched 4 to 6 weeks earlier. You can have white papers or downloads or abstracts or loads of information getting launched in a phased approach. Now, if you get people in there, that's when the fun really begins. If you get to that sort of sweet number of 95% or so engagement within the application, you're going to find so many more people get connections. You gather so much more data on your attendance and your attendees for future events and for what types of content that landed well and didn't land well. So like if you really want to improve your event year on year or improve the revenue off the back of your event year on year, it is in your best interest to get as many people into that application as possible. There's a few friction points on this and I understand them. I don't like downloading apps anymore either. I'm a bit done with every time I want to do something, I've got to download an app. Ask for an event technology partner with a web-based version. And
I think many people still don't know that these exist.
These don't exist. For me, they're great. They're so great, and like that doesn't mean you have to be on something which looks like an app on your phone, which is cool, the web-based version of the app. But like I use them on my laptop. Like if I'm booking meetings, I'm on my laptop, I'm looking to see who I fancy meeting and matchmaking with, I'm downloading my documents straight to my laptop, and then when I get to event day, then I use the phone web-based version. And so I think is that it's not only the event planner isn't really understanding there's web-based and native and containers and all these different types of apps. It's the attendee. It's not getting marketed. Hey, listen, if you don't want to download the app, jump on this link and get the information you need. Because it's so helpful. It really is.
Yeah, really good point. I think that there's a lot of education needed around how event apps operate nowadays.
Yeah.
We've still got a lot to learn across the industry on this
Yeah.
front. It's 2026, the beginning of 2026. I know you're never meant to say things that date these sorts of recordings, but I'm going for it because we're early 2026. What is the most important piece of advice that you would give to an event leader reviewing their tech stack for the year ahead? This is your moment, Ryan. What do you want to say?
Straight down the barrel. I don't think anyone knows what's going to be happening in the world in 2026, never mind in the events industry or the event technology industry. So that kind of feeds my answer. So the first thing I would say is I would be considering my partner as truly that, not just partner based on someone that I'm buying off, but okay, so how well do I know this person? How flexible are they? How well do they work under pressure when things go wrong? I would do a little bit more of that relationship building phase with my partners if I was an event leader. And I don't mean going for dinners and drinks and playing paddle like we all do, Vanessa. I mean, maybe instead of going straight into a long-term contract, maybe pile it a little bit, see how they work under pressure, see how they work under certain conditions, see how they work under short time frames. Because I think there's a likelihood that there will be lots of changes this year, whether it is there's a war going on in a certain country that we can't travel to, or it impacts travel and we have to change location, or there's a million possibilities that could happen this year. So I'd maybe test your partner, just to test them a little bit, just to see how they perform, drip feed them the events, build the relationship, and understand their competence and understand how they work under pressure. So that's number one. Then any existing supplier contracts that I was in, I would be taking stock of all of their availabilities to deploy events and hybrid, virtual, all mixes of those things on site, because there may be a point this year, and really hopefully not. Hopefully we have a smooth year as the industry. I'm bullish for the event industry this year personally. But there may be a point this year where you're going to have to change tact. And that might be moving from the physical environment to another physical environment in another country, or it might be from the physical environment to the virtual environment, or maybe certain people from certain communities cannot make it to your event. Either way, understand what your event technology partner can provide as of today for all of those scenarios. And then the last layer of that is, and in what regions can they provide them well?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have contingency for your events if you're doing your job well for this year. You should have contingency for how your event technology is going to be underpinned for that as well. So that would be it. And then the last little point is, this is a personal choice, and I haven't sat in your shoes on this, but this is advice from someone that knows how event technology companies work. I would try and stick with a brand with a face this year. Someone that is empathetic, that understands you, that understands there's been change, there's been understanding with pressure. I think faceless brands with very difficult long-term contracts and little flexibility might be a bit of a higher risk this year personally. And maybe a sort of more mid-tier brand will have more flexibility on developing features and requests in the timelines required for you to have event success. So I would say 2026 is the year to be agile. Maybe don't sign into a multi-year if not possible. Maybe pile a little bit more, choose a more agile partner. But at the end, and if you're in contracts already, start to understand the breadth of the technology and get on top of those things. That's probably the best advice I could give.
I think that my favourite bit of those three is the treat your suppliers as partners piece. When I was supplier side, the customers we had that really smashed it in a good way were the ones that brought us into their team and treated us as an extension of their team, that trusted us with their ideal KPIs, ideal event results, their goals, their targets, their worries, really included us in those conversations. And the clients that I used to work with that just never welcomed us into those, it was always so hard to deliver as well for them, because we didn't really know where the goalposts were, so it was super hard to hit them. And I say this all the time, treat your suppliers as an extension of your team. Tell them as much as you can, tell them what success looks like, because they're so much more likely to be able to help you make that success happen if they know what it really, really, truly is. So I massively agree with you on that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people, they have a certain experiences with certain brands where the event, it doesn't feel like maybe the brands are so big they maybe just don't care. But like if you work with some brands, you will find partners that are going to go above and beyond to help you deliver your events, whether that's being concierge or kiosks, or solving problems before they even exist, or maybe even talking your speakers down off a cliff if they're getting nervous. Like, choose partners that are empathetic, that care, that really are shared in your event success, because they exist out there. They really, really do. And I've worked on both sides.
Wonderful moment to wrap up. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on to Event Tech Takes and sharing some of your thoughts to help us prepare ourselves for 2026. If you've watched this and enjoyed it, share it with a colleague, with a contact, with a friend who's reviewing their stack right now, or getting into building a stack, or wondering how the hell to do a better job with event technology, because there are thousands of event professionals out there and marketing professionals out there that fall exactly into that category. And you will find more short conversations like this in the Event Tech World members area. And Ryan, once again, thanks so much for joining us. It's been awesome having you.
You're very welcome, Vanessa. Good to speak to you.